They used to say the girl's name was Adam. Very intelligent, very beautiful. When she wrote exams, she came first. When she answered questions in class, other children kept quiet. She grew up in a small village where most people struggled to send their children to school. But Ada's story was different. She got a scholarship into one of the most prestigious secondary schools in the city. People in the village carried her names on their lips. She will go far, they said. Ada will change the future of this family. Her mother, Mama Ngozi, sold foodstuffs in the market. Her father was a farmer who hardly left the soil. Life was not easy for them, but Ada's brilliance gave them hope. The day she received the scholarship letter, her mother cried tears of joy. Her father killed a chicken and shared meat with the neighbors. It was just a chance for Ada. It was like the whole family has been lifted. When Ada first arrived at the big school, everything shocked her. The buildings were tall. The classrooms were painted in bright colors. The students wore neat uniform with polished shoes. In the in her village school, they sat on broken benches and sometimes wrote on their laps. But here, every student had a desk. Teachers spoke English fluently, and even some drove cars into the compound. Ada felt both proud and afraid. She was proud because she knew she deserved to be here. She worked hard. She studied late into the night with a small lantern. She answered questions faster than anyone. But she was afraid because many of the students came from rich homes. Some of them carried big English names and spoke with confidence that made Ada feel small. The first weeks were hard. Some students laughed at her accent. Some mocked her simple clothes and her shoes, which were not brand new. But Ada never allowed those things to shake her. She focused on her books. When the first class test came, she scored the highest mark. Even those who mocked her began to notice her. Her teachers quickly saw her potential. They called her to solve difficult questions on the board. They trusted her answers. She became popular not because of money or beauty, but because of her sharp brain. But Ada was also naturally beautiful. Her skin was smooth and dark. Her eyes shone bright. Her smile could lift up a room. People often whispered about it, though they didn't pay much attention. In the hostel, some girls tried to be her friends, others envied her. She thinks she is better than us. She is intelligent, some will say. But Ada never bragged. She remained humble, always helping others with homework, always sharing her notes. One of her teachers, Mr. James, taught mathematics. He was in his early 30s, tall and soft-spoken. Many students feared mathematics, but Ada loved it. She understood numbers like they were stories. Mr. James noticed this quickly. He often praised her in class. Class, look at Ada's working. Very neat, very correct. You all should learn from her, he would say. At first, it was admiration for her intelligence, but slowly things began to shift. Ada's home visits were rare. The school was far from her village, and her parents didn't have money for transport. Most times, she remained in the hostels during short breaks. She only went home during long holidays. This made her closer to her teachers than her own parents because they were adults she saw every day. Mr. James sometimes called her after classes to explain more topics. She liked it. She liked the attention and encouragement. It made her feel special. She didn't see anything strange in it. To her, he was just a good teacher who cared about her progress. There was one Sunday that stayed in Ada's memory. The school had organized extra lessons. After the lessons, most students left for lunch, but Ada stayed back in the class to finish some exercises. Mr. James entered the room. "Still working?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Ada replied, smiling shyly. "You are always serious with your books." "That is good, very good." He walked closer, checked her work, and nodded. "You will go very far, Ada. Don't let anybody distract you." His words sank into her heart. No adult had ever told her she would go far. Not in that tone, not with that look of belief. She carried those words like treasure. Ada's life in school was not just about books. There were cultural days, inter-house sports, and debates. She joined the debate club and became the main speaker. When she stood to speak, her voice was clear, her points sharp. Even the principal often sat to listen. The school began to carry her name with pride. But behind those smiles and praises, Ada carried loneliness. She missed her family. She missed her mother's food, her father's evening jokes, her siblings running around. The hostel was crowded but cold. Some gossiped, quarreled, and formed clues. Ada sometimes felt like she had no one. That loneliness made her open to attention from anyone who showed care. At the end of her first year, Ada took first position in the whole class. The principal called her name on the assembly ground. He shook her hand and gave her a prize. Students clapped and teachers smiled. Mr. James, standing at the side, clapped harder than the rest. Ada's eyes met his and she felt something strange. She didn't know what it was, but it warmed her heart. Her parents were sent a letter. They could not travel for the prize-giving day. But when Ada went home for the long holiday, her mother hugged her tight. "You will be great, my daughter. Never forget where you come from," she said. Ada nodded, carrying the words in her heart. Back in school for the new term, Ada faced more pressures. Seniors, students now noticed her. Some boys started writing letters to her. Some slipped sweets and biscuits into her desk. But Ada was never moved. She remembered her mother's voice. "Never forget where you come from." She tore most of the letters without reading them. She didn't want distractions. But teachers were different. Teachers were powerful. Teachers could shape her path, and Mr. James was not like the boys. He was respected, he was intelligent, and above all, he saw her not just as a student, but as someone special. At this stage, Ada was only 15, young, innocent, and focused. She didn't understand the deeper intention of adults. She only knew what people told her, and what Mr. James told her was simple. "You are bright. You can achieve anything." Sometimes he would ask her to stay behind after class to solve more questions. Sometimes he would give her books to read. Ada trusted him. She saw him like an elder brother. She even began to tell him small things about her life, about how lonely she felt in the hostel, about how she missed her mother's soup. Mr. James listened, nodded, and told her not to worry. One day, during evening prep, Ada was struggling with a geometry problem. Mr. James passed by the class and noticed her frown. "What is the matter?" he asked. "This question, sir, I don't understand." "Come," he said, "bring your book." She followed him to the staff room. He explained the questions with patience. When she got it, she smiled widely. "Thank you, sir." He looked at her for a moment and said, "You know, Ada, you remind me of myself when I was young. Serious, focused. I believe in you." That night, Ada slept with joy in her heart. Someone believed in her, someone important. Life in the school continued. Ada kept excelling, but Mr. James kept drawing closer. It was not fast, it was not sudden. It was slow, like a seed that takes time to grow. And Ada, in her young heart, did not see danger, she only saw care.